Good morning and welcome to the Coffee Magic channel. So today I'm going to be showing you through this new green-red deck that I've built actually only today. Based on my prior video, I had a token deck which was using obviously Nissa as a primary win condition, and we're also using Mondrak Glory Dominus. However, as I was playing through that, I found there was significant lack of interaction, a little bit of overcomplication in sort of looking for the engine that gives the value to the win condition, or perhaps the lethality to the win condition. So I was a little bit disappointed with the performance of that deck as it started to get into the gold meta, and that's when I decided that I wasn't seeing the value coming out of Mondrak Glory Dominus. So let's talk about today this new deck, which I have only been playtesting very briefly, but it seems to have some serious power to it. That's why I thought I would make this additional video, and perhaps you can watch or join as we frankly crush the gold tier ranking, and we'll see how far up we can push today, and yeah, let's see how good the deck really is. But anyway, let's jump into it. So we're sharing much of the same shell as the previous deck. There's some mana ramp coming out from Awaken the Woods, Llanowar, Loam Speaker, and Armored Scrap Gorger. These are good bodies to have again if you're going to trigger Nissa Ascended Animus third ability. We just like to have dud creatures on the board because they're not usually a threat. They're very unlikely to get targeted removal, and then when you drop the bomb of Nissa on whatever turn it is, and you go -7 loyalty counters, they're going to be swinging for a lot of damage. So we like the dud creatures that just give us some mana. The new addition to this deck here is Courier's Briefcase. This I think is extremely valuable for this deck because it separates the mana utility from the creature, unlike these two. So whereas these two, if they get blown up, Llanowar, Loam Speaker, or Scrap Gorger, we lose the mana. However, in the scenario for Courier's Briefcase, we actually get to keep the treasure token around if the creature is blown up. So I like this utility. It is a one-off use case, but we only really need to go off once, so we're not too phased by that. We've dropped the Topiary Stomper down to 3. It just seems like 4 was too many for the deck. We've added in a big score. This is excellent because it helps us to get a bit of card advantage, which the previous green-white deck was sorely missing. And also we get to create 2 treasure tokens, which will help us accelerate. And now into the beefy side of the board. This is a lot of fun stuff, and frankly we're looking to either hardcast Nissa. We're not really looking to hardcast Tyrranax Rex. We can hardcast, obviously the fact it can't be countered means it will be coming down. It's going to be doing damage, doing some work on that first turn it comes down. But really what we're looking for is either, preferably Nissa. That's our first preference. We never want to see a Portal to Phyrexia in our hand. That's why there's only 2 in here. Could even drop it down to 1 in favor of bumping up Tyrranax Rex to a count of 3. The only reason really Portal of Phyrexia is in here as a 2-of is in the scenario that Tyrranax Rex gets blown up. We would like a reasonable consistency to go and fetch a Portal to Phyrexia or draw one. So I think 2 is a good balance. Better to be one of 30 in a deck than 1 of 60. And then the 3-of is the World Spell. This has several utilities to it. The reality is you can probably cast this on turn 4 or 5. I mean 4 if you're very lucky, but 5 in reality. And if you've got cards in hand, if you've got Nissa or you've got the Portal, something like that, you can accelerate it by a turn, or you just accelerate to the third law counter and drop your hand on the table, and that's usually enough to win the game outright. Otherwise, if you have nothing in your hand, then it's a really nice sort of slow tutor effect. Obviously it's gonna take a couple of turns to really come online, so you'll have to gauge the threat across the board to make your own decision and justify if it's worth going the full 2 law counters ahead of the third. Or maybe you just want to take the risk if you're really staring down the barrel of the gun. And just go for that top 7 and see if there's anything there. Otherwise you've probably lost anyway, so at that point it doesn't really matter. But this is a 3-of. The card does have the weakness of being a little bit slow, and it's definitely susceptible to blue control or some removal. But generally speaking, I'd say it goes off more often than it doesn't, which is quite nice. So you're probably familiar with the deck already. The mana base is heavily skewed towards forest. Obviously there's only really one card in here that is red, and to access red mana we do have sort of 8 creatures and Courier's Briefcase, which is a 4 of, to give us additional mana access. We have the treasures, and we do have Topiary Stomp, which can also go and fetch a mountain. So we have more than enough ways to play a big score, so there's not really any drama. In fact, we could even potentially drop that down another 1 or 2 and add in another forest. It seems to be working at the moment, so let's leave it there, and yeah, let's jump into some games. You can check out the flow of the deck. Hopefully we get some more wins on the board, keep climbing the ladder, and we'll see what tier of the ranking system we get stuck at next, and we'll iterate from there. Alright, glad to have you with me. Okay, here we are with our first game, playing up against Ninchito. This is not an ideal hand because I would prefer to have something heavy, but for land, a big score to draw, a couple of mana dorks. Let's play it. Alright then, we're up against a black deck. There is another card as well that we might in future substitute 4 of the 2 of dorks for a 1 of red dork. I'll show it to you later on, or I'll show it to you on screen. It's going to give the ability to have a 1-drop that gives us a treasure. It's only a 1-1 with menace, but being a 1-1 with menace, I don't think it's going to attract too much attention, so it may just end up being a nice free early mana rock, and it could scale nicely into Nissa's ultimate, so that's definitely up for consideration to smooth out and accelerate the deck, and maybe even improve some of the resiliency. I just like the fact that these cards here have 3 toughness. It didn't save the previous Llanowar Loom Speaker from cut down, but it does sometimes save it from some burn or some creature damage. We get a nice little multi-turn blocker for all the 1/1s that are floating around at the moment in meta. Okay, so there's a lot of removal coming out of this guy's deck. I'm going to drop Topiary Stomp because next turn I would be able to drop probably the big score. And let's see what we draw first. We've got 5 mana, so we're going to have 6 on the next turn. So this deck is really playing at almost the slowest it possibly can, which is fine. I mean, it happens. They're burning through a lot of their removal, which they'll probably wish they had kept around. Yes, we're going to take the damage. We are getting low. Ooh, that's not good. That's a painful card to play up against. Okay, so first things first. Big score. Let's see what we can work with. We didn't really get much, did we? Well, we're obviously going to play 1. And that's the turn. So we got 7, 8, 9, so we do have enough to cast a portal on our next turn, which is good. Irrespective if they blow up the armored scrap gorger or not. Should we just block with it, or should we take the damage? The problem is they could have life loss. So I think what we do here is just block one of these. We take the 5, the 7, puts us down to 4. Is that the right play, guys? At the beginning of your... Okay, so... I don't know if maybe I just let it get run over. Yeah, look, let's let it get run over. Because portal is coming down next turn. So that's a little bit more painful. but I'm feeling jazzy. Let's see if the portal can save us. Not going to attack. So we have a blocker. If he can remove this blocker, we do lose the game. But if he can't, then we lost. Good game to Ninjito. It was very unfortunate that he was able to remove our mana dorks that quickly. Alright, on to the next one. Not a good start. Okay, Mayhem 9. Or Mayhem. Not sure if that was a spelling mistake or not. Okay, this is a keepable hand. Now, the previous game didn't go so well. We operated basically at the slowest the deck possibly could, which isn't fun. But to be fair, if we had have been online just one turn earlier, as is the deck's strategy, we probably would have won that, no problem. So I'm not too phased. I'm still confident in the performance. Let's cast the Courier's Briefcase first. Next turn, the Lanois Loam Speaker. Yes, Lanois Loam Speaker. Swing for the Mighty One. Funny thing is, I often find if you get 1 or 2 or 3 damage in at the start, it makes a big difference at the end of the game. It's always when you need that 1 damage to finish. All too often do I find those games where I'm looking at 1 damage missing. And it most often comes from the fact that opponent's got a lifelink critter on 1 or 2 or 3 power that will just save them. Now this is interesting. What do we want to do here? We could cast this for 3. And next turn we can drop the world spell. Yeah, look, let's cast this for 3. Because they may have a counter spell, they may not. But at least if they do, they're going to burn through it ahead of the world spell. Alright, they didn't. That's interesting. Holding up. Oh, what's this? A black. Interesting. So they could have a Wandering Emperor. They could have counter magic. Not really sure what their play is here. But they did basically tap out. If he draws another land, that's unfortunate for us because we still have to play around the counter spell. There's a lot of removal in there. He's got interesting deck. That's the penalty. The worst thing about these types of lands is they come into play tapped, and it slows the deck down so much. Having these decks in the old, these cards in the old Ultimatum deck would have slowed it down to the point I could almost guarantee they'd be non-competitive at Mythic tier. Okay, so we're going to play another land. He's undoubtedly got removal for this, but we have no value in casting at Law 3. So we're just going to cast it at Law 1 and go and grab something of value. We'll take a Nissa, that looks like a good deal. Should we drop the briefcase again? Let's drop briefcase and swing for another one, because I think the next turn we could end the game. If they hold up mana, then we can be a little bit suspect that they are either holding spot removal or counter magic. Counter magic would be to hard counter Nissa. Spot removal would be to remove the world spell or remove Nissa. Aha, okay, that was the play. It is fair enough. So we're going to drop another Awaken the Woods for 3. Fairy. Just going to get a body blocker on the board.
Fast as a puzzle.
There
I'm
it
going to
is.
solve. Knowledge is meant to be shared.
Now, the interesting question is, do we want to cast our Nissa now? Or should we cast a big score? This is a little bit challenging. Because if we cast Nissa now, we obviously have no value. I mean, look, let's cast it because we know it can't be countered. And we're going to get a beefy body.
Soon, all will be joined.
Let's get the beefy body out.
Our
We don't need
strength
to attack.
multiplies.
Now, undoubtedly there has to be spot removal on his side of the board. So I'm assuming Nissa's going down, so we're going to have to big score into something valuable. Otherwise, he will be in some trouble if he passes a turn and Nissa is still on the board. So it's 7, 8 forests down. Yeah, looks like he's targeting the Nissa. Mayhem 9. He passed. Okay, I'm not exactly sure why. Now this is challenging. Do we cast this first? If we cast this first, it will then get the buff from Nissa. If we don't, we can't use Nissa's ultimate at instant speed. But I don't think there's anything that he can do that is going to stop us. Look, let's play it safe. Let's trigger Nissa's ultimate first. And then we'll hardcast Tyrranax Rex. Just for that added
Witness my
lethality.
garden's glory.
Fair enough. Good scoop. Good game. Mayhem 9. I just wasn't sure. It would be very nice if Magic implemented a stay around function where you could see the opponent's hand. I'm not asking to see their deck. Don't need to see someone's deck. I understand that's sometimes a very private thing, but I just want to see what was in their hand and how the game could have played out. That's a function I really wish was in the game. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, here we are playing against Redoku. Opening hand is looking good, to be honest. Yeah, we can keep this. 3 forests, a hand full of green. A very lush hand. I have to say, I would very much like to get the alternate card art for this card. I've never been a fan of Topiary Stomper because I think it's heavily penalized by the fact you need 7 lands down for this to get some functionality on the board, which is really, really bad. And you only sort of wake it up with Awaken the Woods. So I just wish maybe they... look, they're not going to change the card, but still, the alternate card on it, the alternate card art looks awesome, and I would play it a lot more if it was a little bit more functional. It's cool artwork. Even this artwork though is pretty cool. Now here we can cast this for 4, getting us 2 lands, but it's going to cost us the artifact token, or treasure token, so we don't want to do that yet. So let's trigger Topiary Stomper, grab a forest, and swing for the mighty one. Redoku is playing, by the looks of it, mono white. There's 2 planes out, 3 planes out. Probably going to be facing a stack of removal coming up. White is king of removal. It's not funny, I mean, 10 or 15 years ago it was black that was king of removal. And now it's just... yeah, I mean, white did need the buff. Life gain just wasn't enough, which tends to be how white was initially, but it did have some good things. I mean, Swords to Plowshares was an early one in the white toolbox. Now we've gone with another forest, and I think this is the right time to trigger our Awaken the Woods for 3. It's going to allow us to get some serious damage in, and next turn we can follow up with the World Spell and start digging a little deeper in the deck. Restoration, what's he discarding? Okay, Gyara Font of Hope. Font. I don't know who named that card. Font. Font of Hope. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel you already control. Very powerful card. Very, very powerful. It did come into play tapped, and it didn't have haste, so it wouldn't have been tappable anyway. So it doesn't make a big difference. If we draw Nissa here, we win the game, which is quite cool, because we've got 5 forests down, we'll have a mountain, so that will be our 6th land, and we have the treasure, that's our 7th land. And we have 5, 6, 7, 8 forests down, so everything will get +8/+8. So we're going to tear this game apart if it was on Nissa, but it's not. It's a scrap gorger. So let's go ahead and pop the world spell. Leave it on 1. And we whiff. We get absolutely nothing there. So what do we want to pull into our hand here? We sort of got all the land we need, so we may as well just grab the Lanoan Loam Speaker, because there's nothing else there. Cast the Loam Speaker. And charge in for the Mighty 4. It's probably going to take this. Oh, there's a disturb? No, there's not. It's just flying. I thought that was a disturb icon. Alright, will we get a Nissa this turn? Because this turn, no matter what happens, we'll be able to hard cast anything we draw. Anything at all. So if they have a farewell, we can't end the game this turn, but we can come close to it in a few turns. Lay down arms, fair play. Probably should have cast that. He must have just drawn it. Otherwise, he would have played it earlier. Steel Seraph. Okay, getting some answers. Probably going to give it lifelink. Yes, he does. And then he swings for 5, or is he going to keep the blockers around? He does. Only 2. Okay. Tiberius Stomper, that's not what we wanted to say. Wow, how do we get nothing? Okay. Let's take another Stomper. Down a mountain, put down the Stomper. I'm just going to play these out to start thinning the deck. Forest down. Another Stomper. Forest down. May as well drop this bad boy too. And then pass the turn, we got nothing else to do. It was very disappointing with the world spell. It does occasionally whiff like that. Did it put everything on the bottom? Yeah, so at least we know that there's no shuffling in the deck, so you know, it's gotten rid of 14 cards to the bottom of our deck. So the odds are pretty high that in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 turns, we're going to draw something that we can use to win. Not sure what it's going to be though. Could even be another world spell. It would be funny. It gives it a redeeming chance. What is Rillerku doing here? Okay, he's starting to get a little bit threatening, so I'm starting to feel the pressure now. Can we sacrifice Ikoria's briefcase? We have red, we have green. We could have blue and white, but we don't have black. Because we can't sacrifice this to get the additional mana. That's unfortunate. Oh wow, Awaken the Woods. Okay. It doesn't give us anything either. That's unfortunate. I really wanted to do that. I guess we're going to have to drop Awaken the Woods and then go wide on our next turn. Just swing. So if he attacks us this turn, we're going to take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... 5, 10... Oh, we will die. He has lethal on this next turn. There's nothing we can do right now, is there? Yeah, I think we've lost. Alright, let's just drop this for 10. And keep some cards up. But I'm pretty sure that we've lost this. Pass the turn. Otherwise, on this next turn, we can activate the briefcase. Which really would be fantastic, because I think statistically we are in for some sort of a good play, The game has ended.
Feel the energy of battle, then guide it like water.
Yep, good game. Good game.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
Very unfortunate there, but we can't do anything. Okay, that's just how it goes. A bit of bad luck there with the shuffler or drawing. We do have really enough cards in there that we should have hit something on that 14 card look through. That was just some bad luck again. Okay, here we are against King Orgy 8989. So playing up against probably someone born in 89, so they'll be 32, 33 years old. And this is a talkative fellow. Good game, hello, good game. Dropping the red, letting him know what colours we're on. He's on a bit of red too, red, blue and black. Which means it's probably a fair bit of interaction in his deck. And at instant speed, which is never that fun to play around. Question is, do we go big score here? No, we go Awaken the Woods. Will it get counted? Looks like it. Yep. Okay then. So we're going to be playing this game a little bit slowly, unfortunately. But he can't be holding counters forever. But he was holding that one. Okay, so that's an Essence Scatter and a Make Disappear. So by my logic, he's probably got maybe 4 to 5 more counters in that deck, because no one runs more than 6 or 7 counters. So I'd say we should be past in terms of the threat from the counters in his deck. Now, do we cast Big Score? I really want to cast it, but I don't want to discard either of those either. So let's just stick around. We've got 4 lands out. We've got Treasure, which is effectively the 5th mana, meaning if we draw a couple of lands here, it's okay. We didn't. So the question is, do we go with the Courier's Briefcase again, or discard it to Big Score so we can get a land out? I think we're going to discard it. Get the 2 treasure tokens up. That'll take us to 7, so we will have the ability to play this. We do find the lands that we were looking for too, so that's good. Now, there's no value really to cast Nissa. And they may have drawn into counter magic. They've fast forwarded that turn pretty damn quickly. I suspect they're thinking they've got something worthwhile. So let's just go ahead and cast this at its first lore ability. Not going to jump ahead. They're thinking, do they have counter magic? That for me is going to be interesting. They didn't. Thanks. King Orgy. Not my number one name, but you know, if it works for you, it works for you. See, I'm glad that we hit something there. Normally the world spell hits. We have enough cards in this deck to at least in terms of probability, hit something because... Oh, shit. Ah, that happened too quickly. I didn't even see that. We're going to have to go back on replay. Someone go back on replay and check out what we just did. What did we miss? Oh, that's very frustrating. We can hard cast the portal, but I'm not going to. We're going to have to keep 2 mana free in case he's sitting on a counter, so we're going to cast this just for 5. It's more than enough. No, you know what? Let's just go back and cast it for 4. Because that brings us all the lethality we will need. Awaken the Woods into Nissa. Swing for the Mighty One. Didn't want to drop the Wandering Emperor to deal with that turn. I wonder what he's stacking up. That's a lot of floating land. 3, 6, 7, 8. He's 1 short to end my turn if he has... I think it was Hercules. Oh, I can't remember exactly what it was. Well, anyway, it looks like Nissa's going to get to do her job.
Phyrexia is the end of evolution.
And he scoops. Thank you, King Orgy. Alright, let's continue. Did we have fun? Well, we won, didn't we? We had fun. Okay, here we are playing up against Torghroth. God, where are these names coming from? Actually, I should be grateful that one of the character-based names hasn't come up Chinese or Japanese because I can't read those. Look, it's full of accelerant. We're bound to draw something. Either... Hello again. We're polite people today. To be honest, I never get people saying hello that often. It's always nice. Let's get the Scrap Gorger down. That gives us at least a consistent rock. Hey, he's going to blow it up. That's fair. To be honest, I don't know why people are burning their destruction so early. Maybe it's just at the lower rank. I would be holding it up a little bit for any potential, potentially more valuable threats. It is only turn 2. I mean, I'm obviously ramping into something, so wouldn't you likely save it for the end game rather than slow me down? Unless you really believe you can end the game that early. Okay, Forest. Let's drop 2 briefcases, and then next turn we go big score. So no matter what, if we drew something of value this turn, we could do something with it, but you know what, I'm just going to take the damage for this round. Just going to beef it up again, that's fine. And yes, we take our turn. Right, so we did draw something, that's nice. Okay. I am feeling a little bit of pressure here, but I think we're gonna have to... So on our next turn we block, we lose both these creatures. And then we die on our second turn. So we have to drop this on law counter 2. Or do we drop it on law counter 1? There's nothing we can draw that's going to save us right now. So we only have 5 land out, so it has to be 2. And we're looking for Phyrexian Portal. And we hit it. That is very fortunate. We do nothing. Sorry, Portal to Phyrexia, not Phyrexian Portal. Same thing. Someone will call me out on that. He is thinking if... Look, he has 1 card which can win the game for him. That will make me sacrifice the world spell. I've forgotten the name of it. It's the 5 5 mana cost sorcery, sacrificing 3 permanents, pay 2 life, and lets them draw a card. I haven't played black in a little while, so I'm not too sure of their card names at the moment. I am only coming back to Magic after 2 years, and then before that... Wait, what? Target opponent reveals a hand. You choose a creature or planeswalker card from it. Oh, thank God, he can't target it. That's a blessing in disguise. Search your library for a card, put a card into your hand, then shuffle. You lose 3 life. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. He's obviously going to attack this turn. Powers it up. We're going to block. We've got no choice. Yes, 1 into there and 1 into there. Both are blocks. But now this turn, I'm going to take it. Drop this. Sacrifices those 2. Now we cast a big score. Discard Boseiju. Draw another world spell. Drop the land. And we're going to get to go a little deeper on the next play. So we'll see what the world spell has in store for us. Game is not over. It's not feeling great, but it's not over. So let's see how it develops. The good thing is we've stabilized, and black doesn't have much haste. Well, that ended our game pretty quickly, didn't it? That's disappointing. Well played, Torgroth. That was the card I was fearful of. Okay, so we are playing up against Garkeller? Garkeller. Oh, should I stop pronouncing people's names? I get them wrong all the time. Garkeller. Okay, this is a keepable hand. 4 lands, 3 spells. Okay, so let's drop the forest first, pass the turn. Okay, red's doing what red does, and the game's fast. But let's see if he's going to let our mana dorks stick around. It's something that people haven't been doing this afternoon, or today.
Without the sun, I'll light your way.
Okay, one
Give a
free
toast?
floating. Yeah, we
I'd
can
love
block
to.
because there's no damage coming out anymore. Now, this is where I question. We're gonna have, if we play this, will we lose them both? I think we have to, because it will at least guarantee Nissa down on the next turn. And then we can use Nissa's first loyalty ability to get the Phyrexian Horror creature token into play, which will be a good body block, unless he's got potentially
So I'm a
a
little
dragon.
hot-headed. So
We'll back
what?
up this Phoenix chick. That was not friendly at all. Okay, so now we are facing a little bit of trouble. We can't use Nissa. I think we're gonna have to just put some creatures down. Grab another land. Good game. You must have the burn to end the game.
We should all follow our hearts.
It definitely does. Game over. Thank you, Garkeller. Right, on to the next one. Okay, here we are against Pikapool. There's a very cool Jin Phyrexian avatar. Now, I will be honest, this hand is cool. We got Phyrexian Portal to Phyrexia, so that's all we want, that's all we need. If we get to hardcast that, that would be disappointingly cool. No one should ever hardcast a Portal to Phyrexia, but sometimes it happens. Courier's Briefcase down first. Now I did make a slight change to the deck between games, so this now has 4 copies of a creature, which I will show you if we draw it. I didn't take down the name, but I added in some mountains in substitute for the forests as well. Now let's drop the Scrap Gorger. There is 1 copy less Scrap Gorger in the deck, and there is also 2 copies less of the Briefcase and of the Lanois Loam Speaker. It's a beefy boy, but we're happy to let this go. Another land. So next turn we'll be able to cast the portal if he doesn't destroy everything. No attacks. We want a blocker that isn't one of our lands, even though we do have another land if needed. And he's playing red and green, so he's not in a meta that's probably going to board. I mean, he could board like, oh, what's that? The Evolved Spinoderm. Ah, that's a cool card. Now, yes, we're going to block that because we don't need to take too much damage. We don't volunteer ourselves for ultimate punishment. Drop it. And drop this. Hard cast portal. And there it goes. So now the game is even. If you can get rid of portal, then we're at a disadvantage. But if you can't remove the portal, then we are probably going to edge out the game. Let's drop the world spell, cast it at 1, dig through the library. Oh, do we want to grab a second portal or Nissa? No, we grab Nissa. The second portal will just be greedy. So depending on what we find with World Spell will dictate exactly what we do. It deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Very good play. Makes me wish I went and grabbed the portal, but it's now on the bottom of our deck, so we know that the portal is not coming back. We're going to take the damage, no blocks needed. Opponent is fully tapped out. What is this? Oh, luckily, Okay, so do we grab Nissa? Or do we grab Tyrranax? Because we can hardcast Tyrranax this turn. Or we could hardcast Nissa this turn. But we couldn't kill if we swung, and then we would definitely die. Oh, there's too much to choose from here. Look, I think we grab Tyrranax Rex. Now we go ahead and cast this for 4. Yeah, no, we're going to cast it for 3. Because if he has another board wipe, I would like to have a couple of creatures up to dish the damage. Okay, Spinoderm loses another royal counter. It's lost its hexproof. If he has a board wipe, it's probably okay. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Okay. He's going to sacrifice it. Which will he remove though? Portal or the world spell? Ooh, portal was the wrong play. That was not the right play, pickable. not the right play. Resolve, haste. I can feel he's going to attack. He's just very aggressive. Oh no, he passed the turn. That was a very smart thing to do. Huh. What are their odds? Okay. Down they both go.
I will read out the sentinel.
And Nissa can trigger off.
I must retreat.
We will rise,
Cast the world spell just in case he has an answer for everything, which we already know he doesn't. But let's swing for the end. Good game. Please let us end. I'm playing as quick as I can, so he lets us swing for the damage. He'll be the first player in 48 hours to let us actually hit if he doesn't quit. Please don't quit, pick up all. Take the damage. Let's see that stack up. I mean, this is half the fun of Magic, and so many people can argue it. Thank you, Pick-a-Pick. That felt good. Minus 31. That's what we wanted to see. Good game. Good game from Pick-a-Ball. Here we are playing against Panos Za 89. Panos Za 89. Another person born in 89, it looks like. Okay, this is a little heavy, but it's playable for the fact we have 2 mana dorks. Even on the play, I'm confident. And there's 27 lands in the deck, so there we go. We drew the curve we needed. Loam Speaker dropped first. By the way, I do want to mention, be careful with Scrap Gorger. It may actually be better to substitute it for full copies, a playset of Loam Speaker, just because when you have the portal to Phyrexia down, sometimes Scrap Gorger is forced to remove the creatures you want to take, which is not ideal. So it might be necessary to remove. It's advantageous to obviously to take out flashback cards and things like that, but it's, I guess, one of those situational cases. Let's drop another Scrap Gorger. Now this turn I think I'm going straight into Awaken the Woods, and then we will cast 1 copy of Nissa. So, oh, we drew 2 Awaken the Woods. That's unexpected. Okay, so we'll drop this for 3. Yep, that's fine. So now we've got 4 lands, 7 lands. So we can hardcast a Nissa and get ourselves a Phyrexian Horror creature. I could drop another copy of Awaken the Woods, but I'm afraid that he's got a burn spell that will wipe the board. So I think the safer play is going to be play Nissa, get a beefy token down. If he removes the Nissa, we don't particularly care. And if he doesn't remove the Nissa, then we'll be able to go off significantly on the next turn for lethality. So we can take all the damage he's going to throw at us right now, which is good. That's what we needed. If we got a land here, that would be nice. Just to give a little bit of complexity to the decision process on his next attacking turn. Doesn't happen, but we're going to drop Nissa anyway and get that beefy token. Because now this is something that he has to contend with. Loyal Bodyguard. Sacrifice the Loyal Bodyguard. Everything gains +1 and indestructible. Wait, and haste? Oh no, +1 indestructible. Maze Crusher. Enters the battlefield with 5 oil counters. Remove an oil counter. It gains Vigilance and Menace. Remove 2. It gets +2/+2. Remove 3. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Sheoldred's Edict. Great play. I love that card. It's just such a good card. Now here, can we swing for lethality? So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8 forests, which means everything gets +8/+8. So this becomes a 16/16, and that would become a 9/9 trample. 9/9 trample, 25 damage. He's on. Yeah, that's lethal. Here goes Nissa. He's going to scoop, I believe. Nope, he's not.
I will read out the sentinel.
I'm sorry.
To reject our gift. Crush them underfoot.
We strike. Unless he scoops. No, he doesn't scoop. Let's say. I won't say good game yet. I don't say good game immediately because sometimes they have an answer. And then you look like an idiot. This is a desperate push to end the game quickly, but let's see if it happens. Will he scoop? Does he have an answer? Or can we follow through for the 25 damage that we owe him? Come on, Panos. What are you thinking? It's gonna hurt. Let's see, he can block 5, 9, 10. Yeah, he can't survive. Unless he can gain 2 life. 3 life he would have to gain. Oh, that can't block, so he'd have to gain 5 life to survive. Or he could remove one of the tokens. In which case, he would certainly survive if you removed the Phyrexian token. I think... Good game. Good game. Thank you, Panos Azar. Okay, so that has taken us out of gold and into platinum. I suspect this deck will probably be quite competitive all the way through platinum. It's just going to require some more thoughtful thinking as we go along. I did want to mention just before we left that we obviously started the video with a different deck. The changes to the deck were adding 4 copies of Goldhound. It's a 1-cast artifact creature, and critically it gives us the same sort of value that we are looking for out of any of these mana rocks or mana dorks, the Scrap Gorger, the Loam Speaker, and the Briefcase. It's coming in at 1 cost. It's a 1/1 with first strike. It has menace, so when we pump it to the moon with Nissa, it's even harder to block if it's on the board. And we can tap it, sacrifice it, and add 1 mana of any color. Yes, technically that is inferior to a Scrap Gorger or a Loam Speaker, but the reason that I like this is it's a 1-drop, and it would be nice to have something that helps us curve out at that early mana base, and just giving us a little bit more advantage when it comes to our mana curve, our play curve, which is already quite lean. It is very lean, you know, everything here, 1 drop, 2, 2, 2, and this, we usually drop it as a 4 or 5 cast, so we get 2 or 3 tokens off that. Obviously a 3 drop and a 4 drop, so it's actually very efficient, but I'm just looking to smooth it out. If this can survive, it's potentially taking us 1 turn earlier in the deck, which is, you know, ideal. It would be amazing to go a turn earlier. So anyway, as I said, if you're interested, you could probably drop Portal to Phyrexia, add an additional Rex, but I sort of like the utility that comes out of that. I may also end up dropping Scrap Gorger entirely and bumping up the Loam Speaker to a 4 of in the deck, just because removing a card in a graveyard may end up that you're removing creature cards which you could otherwise target with the Portal to Phyrexia. Portal is great for us because worst case scenario, we're going to go and grab our mana rocks, otherwise we're going to go and grab the Rex. So Portal is good utility value in this deck. But yeah, I think we performed reasonably well today. We've made it into the diamond tier. So I'm going to continue to climb with this and see how high we can get. Alright, thank you very much for joining me. Leave a like, subscribe and comment. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks, bye bye.